UN envoy for Syria has dismissed the notion that the truce in the Arab country needs renewing after 2 weeks.
Well, let me really be very frank on that. I don't know where this 2 weeks issue came up from an international point of view. I heard that some the sides have indicated 2 weeks. From the UN point of view and the Geneva meetings we have been having on the task force, and certainly Munich understanding, there was an open-ended concept regarding the cessation of hostilities. Of course, the first days are always the most critical, and we're reaching, God willing, 2 weeks with a grosso modo, by and large, quite a sustained reduction of violence.
Staffan de Mistura says he will relaunch substantive peace talks in Geneva on Monday. Preparatory meetings will begin on Thursday. Now, the UN envoy for Syria added that negotiations will focus on the core issues of governance, elections within 18 months, and a new constitution. This round of talks will not run beyond March the 24th, when there will be a break before resumption.
We plan to start having informal talks already, hotels or here, with whoever is arriving, but the substantive, deeper part of it, after the first preparation, will be on Monday, God willing, the 14th. They will last not beyond the 24th. We believe that having a timetable and a time limit is healthy for everyone.
The truce in Syria has largely held despite the government and foreign-backed militants accusing each other of having violated it on several occasions. Well, crossing over to Paris, joined by political analyst Mr. Gearóid Ó Colmáin. Thank you so much for being with us. Looking at the situation, first of all, what has to happen in your perspective that these talks can actually be successful?
Well, the West has to renounce terrorism. It has to stop supporting violent extremist terrorist groups in Syria. It has to drop the pretense that it's trying to promote democracy. And it has to get serious about negotiation with Russia and Iran on very serious geopolitical and oil-related topics and gas-related topics, which are very much at the heart of the conflict in Syria. So the support for these terrorist groups has got to stop. If that's stopped, and if the weapons supply from Turkey in particular ceased, then we would have the basis for progress in Syria. But I don't think we have the basis really for negotiation.
Why do you say that?
Given the fact that there is no credible opposition in Syria, given the fact that Syria is already a democratic country with a democratic constitution, I would challenge anybody to read the 2012 document, the Syrian constitution, which was voted for by the people. I would challenge anybody to read that and tell me that it's not democratic. It's a democratic country with a democratically elected president who has a huge mandate. None of the countries attacking Syria have that kind of mandate. François Hollande certainly doesn't have it. Saudi Arabia is not a democracy, it's an absolutist dictatorship. And none of the other countries have any of the democratic credentials that Assad has. So I don't see any basis for negotiation with this concocted opposition, which only serves Western geopolitical interests and has no interest in serving the Syrian people. These people should be brought back to Damascus and tried for their crimes against humanity, for their war crimes. And I don't see any basis for a political compromise with them. I'm sure the Russians and the Iranians will want to get some kind of basis for compromise so as to bring the war to an end. And I'm sure the Syrian government will do its best to create some kind of space. Mm-hmm. But the opposition, the so-called opposition, the fake opposition created by Saudi Arabia, by France, by Israel, by the United States and Britain, they have to get serious if they want to have any role in a future Syria. They have to get serious about accepting the democratic mandate of the Syrian people. And they've already spoken out in favor of Assad. There have been massive demonstrations in favor of Assad, and there's a constitution which is democratic. I don't see any basis for changing that constitution.
So what are you saying, Mr. Ó Colmáin? Let me just jump in here. What are you saying then? Are you saying the only way to stop the war in Syria really is a military victory on the part of the government? Or tell me, how do you see this coming to an end?
Long term, the terrorism is not going to stop. There's far too many people making money out of this, making billions of dollars out of money, out of stealing their oil. The US doesn't stop wars. The only way you can stop a war against the United States is if you defeat the United States. They were defeated in Vietnam. They were defeated in Korea. And they pulled back out of those two war theaters. The United States doesn't certainly decide, okay, this isn't working. They will keep the war going until they eventually bring the country to absolute chaos and anarchy. So it really does depend on the power of the Russians and the Iranians to basically change the dynamic on the battleground. They are doing that right now, and that is one of the fears of the Western military alliance is that, for example, the Kurds have not gone over to the other side. For many months there was speculation that Israel was trying to get the Kurds on their side, and that doesn't seem to have happened. So there's a lot that's going against the Western military alliance in Syria right now, and so they are hoping to have a ceasefire in order to come up with new plans. But I don't really think you can have any kind of negotiation with terrorists. The opposition in Syria are terrorists. That's what they are. And I think that the only real long-term solution is a military solution.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us out of Paris. Political analyst, Mr. Gearóid Ó Colmáin.